Welcome back, everybody. Youngzers, episode 7. Coincidentally, we're going to get right into it. 7 being the number of points the Steelers had today against the 49ers. Kind of laid back right now. I usually sit up forward, locked in. Right now, spirits are just down. Yinzer spirits in the tombs, down the tubes. The best team in Pittsburgh right now is the Pirates. It ain't looking good, folks. Week 1, after a promising preseason, everything just goes wrong. Steelers. I woke up today, I threw my Minka Fitzpatrick jersey on, and I said, "Thank you, football's back." I was excited. Steelers would be the savior this year for us. The Pens had a bad year. Pirates are doing the same thing they do every year. And we thought that we had something going. And then game started, and we were wrong. We're very, very wrong. So let's get into it. I know Dan has notes. I know Andrew is very fed up. What do you guys have?
I'm starting it right now. Patrick Peterson, shut the hell up. Oh, Brock Purdy got these tells. Buddy, you got cooked by Brandon Ayuk all game. I think every time Ayuk was targeted, he had a catch. Patrick Peterson, don't mouth off. Let's see. Kenny Pickett, so much for the picket fence, whatever you want to call it. Absolute garbage. Throwing behind receivers, throwing in a double coverage. Attempted murder with Pat Fryermuth on that pass down the seam. Like we saw yesterday with Phil Dracovic. Brian made a good point. It's like watching Peyton Manning throw hospital passes to Austin Collie. The only way that play ends is with Austin Collie on a backboard, and he got no clue where he's at. The tin advisor won't save him. So Kenny Pickett just looked horrible. The defense got absolutely gashed by Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk. It didn't matter who you had out there. It could have been, um, it could have been the cast from what's the new Adam Sandler. I'm just drawing a blank. Ryan, I think I'm echoing off you too.
Yeah, you're echoing, Ryan.
Let me turn down a little bit. All right, try again.
You talking about like the longest yard?
Longest yard, yeah.
Still echoing.
Yeah.
All right. I'll turn down a little more.
Ryan's the Matt Canada of echoing right now. Just he's calling jet sweeps in his room.
So I just want to give you some numbies real quick since you brought up Brandon Ayuk. Eight receptions for 129 yards, set 16.1 yards average with 2 touchdowns. McCaffrey went off for 22 rushes for 152 yards, 6.9 yards a carry, 1 TD. I didn't write down his receiving numbers, but he had a couple receptions as well. Just gashed in every aspect. And here's the big thing. It's won and lost up front on both sides of the ball, and they lost on both fronts. Both lines of scrimmage, they did not win. They looked horrendous on offense, the offensive line, and I thought it was going to be a bright spot. I understand they need to gel together, but they had since OTAs. It's not like last year. The defensive line, if you look at all of Christian McCaffrey's holes, you could have driven a Mack truck between every one of those holes. And their defense or their offensive line was getting a hat on a hat, and then they were getting to the second level. So our linebackers were getting blocked up as well. It's I'm not going to overreact. It's the first game of the year. The past 2 years, I understand we beat the Bills and then we beat Cincinnati. But we squeaked those out. I know we got smacked in the mouth here. If you look at it, just going down, we lost 30-7. Total yards, we had 239 total yards. San Fran had 391. They killed us in comparison on the ground. We had 41 yards rushing. They had 188. First downs.
You said 48?
We had 41. They had 188.
And one of those was a 25-yard carry by Najee, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Najee had 6 carries for 31 yards.
He was non-existent. I mean, every player that was our personality guys, like our Najees, Pickens, Pickett. They all didn't show up. There was no emotion, no personality to that team. The only person I could say was at least woke up to play today was TJ Watt. With two big sacks,
Three.
right?
He had 3 sacks.
Three big sacks. Three sacks. 2 of them which were big. 2 fumbles, kind of. Which one San Francisco did recover,
Yes.
but there was just no emotion, no personality. It's like it kind of felt like the underdog mentality where people were talking about them saying, "Hey, look out for the Steelers." I think that kind of got to their heads. They probably thought Brock Purdy coming off an injury, Mr. Irrelevant. They might have looked over him a little bit.
You can't
I don't know.
overlook a guy who's in Kyle Shanahan's offense. That guy is a mastermind. You look across the NFL, guys like Kyle Shanahan, Andy Reid, Sean McVay. Those guys are wizards on the offensive side of the ball. That's why you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers. We have a defensive-minded head coach, and I'm not blaming coach. I'm not calling for Matt Canada's head or anything yet. Like I said, it's the first game. But the thing that really struck me, and I want to get this out real quick. We had 15 first downs. We didn't get a first down till our last possession of the first half. It's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. You can't go 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. And especially when you have a punter like Presley Harvin who can't boom a ball. He had 1 inside the 20, and he averaged, where is it?
Probably like 40, I bet. 30 or 40.
So he had 6 punts for 254 yards, 42.3 yards average, 1 inside the 20. That's ridiculous. His first punt was a shank.
Yeah.
You can't
and here
flip the
is
field.
the biggest thing. I'm just losing my train of thought because there's so many things going through my head. First thing is no NFL team. I don't care if you're at the top. I don't care if you're at the bottom. You don't have 4 yards of offense at almost halftime. If it wasn't for that last drive where the 49ers kind of stepped back a little bit and Bosa wasn't on the field for 2 plays, we might have been looking at going into halftime with 4 total yards. 4 yards. That is sad. That is pitiful. That is like you could have put like anybody on that field and gotten, I bet, a yard. Maybe. I don't know. But the biggest thing that was rubbing me wrong way is I want to get this out now. The fans stunk. Yeah. And I'm getting to that point. Steeler Nation, you're on notice. You beg for years. Give us a home game week 1. Give us a home game week 1. You know what happens? The under bowl, the lower bowl is all red. Yep. Here's what I'm sick of. People that want to get tickets never get them. People that deserve the tickets don't get them. The true fans, I'm not saying that every fan there isn't a true fan, but these people that buy tickets just to flip them, you are the worst people. There's kids that want to go there. There's fathers that want to bring their sons there. Make memories, actual Steelers diehard fans. Not people that are just going to sell their tickets to Joe Schmo visiting from California. And you know what? That's what's going to happen. The Steelers, we're not a destination for teams to come in and watch, which we're not Vegas. That's what's going to happen with Vegas and the Raiders. We're not Vegas. And that really just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Ticket culture has gone downhill. Steelers fans, if you buy these season tickets and you just flip them and you sit on that waiting list, you are scum of the earth. You are horrible. I'd kill to have season tickets. I'd love the opportunity to have these season tickets, but you got to wait damn near 30 years to get them. So, whenever you sell them and flip them, you're the worst. Just want to get that off my chest.
Well, I'm going to go off Dan's point or your point about fathers wanting to bring their sons to the game. In the same train of thought as fathers bringing their sons into a football stadium, I think Mike Tomlin should be gone, and I am starting the bring Deion Sanders train to Pittsburgh along with his kid. Yes.
Nope.
Yeah, you need that here, Dan. I'm sorry. You got to have prime. No. Tomlin did not have the team ready. They're flat. If you want to have winning seasons, be my guest. If you want to win a Super Bowl, you get prime in here because Tomlin, he's the safe.
Here's the thing, and I agree with you that he didn't have the team. He didn't have the team ready. That's fine. But here's the thing: you can't bring prime in here. You're just going off, on a whim here. Prime has barely proved that he could do it at the collegiate level, let alone at the professional level. Ask Nick Saban. Ask guys like that. Okay. Ask Brian Kelly. Ask who was the coach? Brian. He was the old Penn State coach. What was his name?
Bill O'Brien.
Bill O'Brien, that's it. Yeah, ask him what happened to the Texans when he coached the Texans. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
Counterpoint.
You come in here with an attitude, and I love it. Let's go.
Counterpoint. None of those coaches look as good in a cowboy hat as Deion Sanders does.
That's fair, but you're talking about one of the greatest collegiate coaches couldn't do it in the NFL. I understand he coached for Miami, but still, he couldn't do it in the NFL. It's a whole different ball game up here. The only reason why Dion, and here, I'm going to get on this train now. The only reason why Dion is any good at the collegiate level is because he knows how to talk to people. He can recruit very, very well. You don't recruit in the NFL. We know this. You draft in the NFL. He goes to these kids' homes and he lays it out for their parents, because you don't just draft, or you don't recruit the kid. You have to recruit the parents. That's why he's done what he's done, totally overhauled Colorado, and I understand, but they played TCU and then they played Nebraska. What's Nebraska going to finish in the Big Ten? Last? It's going to be them and Wisconsin fighting for the last spot over on that side of the conference.
I mean, I wasn't serious about Prime coming to Pittsburgh, but just get a new coach, because it all falls on the coach at the end of the day. We've had this discussion about Mike Tomlin. Never had a season under 500. But like Ryan said, you beg for a home opener, you get it. And then you basically do the equivalent of stepping on a rake and just hitting yourself in the face over and over the game. I mean, they didn't look prepared. Here's where I'm mind blown. You draft Joey Porter Jr. with basically a first-round pick.
Yeah.
Levi Wallace is you could flip him over. He's done on that side, like Mark Mann said. They're getting cooked. Didn't see a snap. What are you doing?
Yeah, I was confused about that. And I think that was the weakest point of our defense today. Excuse me, but our secondary was just getting torched over and over. I mean, Ayuk was out there doing whatever he wanted to. Even early when they converted that fourth down to George Kittle, what were we doing? The linebacker got sucked up because the back out of the backfield, but the tight end's his guy. You got to know that in coverage. Just the secondary looked pitiful, and I kept looking for JPJ, but I never saw him. And I think that's a damn shame. If you don't trust that guy, what worse is he going to do out there in that situation than what you already had out there? I mean, KZ was getting torched. Anybody out there? I mean, Patrick Peterson had a couple nice plays, but the middle of the defense was wide open. The middle of the field where they could do damage, and they did damage. Catch and run. That's what that team does. Yeah.
They shot Peasy in Denver. They benched Peasy Jr. in Pittsburgh. Yeah. Disgusting.
It is.
Disgusting behavior all around.
Yeah. It all just fell apart. There's no good takeaways from that game. You can think of any. I don't think there's any. I really don't.
You got TJ Watt.
No, well, that's a given. Other than him, here, I was just gonna say, on the return game, returns? He had 3 returns for 91 yards. Yeah, but on the kick returns, he had 3 returns for 91 yards combined. That's pretty good. You're averaging out to the 30-yard line on a start. That's 5 more than what you would get if you take the touchback. He was really close to breaking 2 of those. He really was, to get at least to the 50. So that's a bright point, because special teams, it makes or breaks a game. Look, we could not flip the field with Presley Harvin.
15 yards.
Yeah.
Especially right there. Your drive's already up there.
Yeah.
Also, that is the one reason that he was kept on the team and he wasn't cut, because I remember Tomlin coming out and saying he was the best player out in the open. When he was in the open field, he was the best player. So I'm surprised that he took Calvin Austin's kind of return role, but he's doing well. Keep it coming, as long as Gunner's not out there, which I'm fine with.
You need a scrappy slot guy like that to really juice the offense. I'm sorry,
but I mean, Calvin Austin, he's going to be your punt returner, which is fine. What do you have? They only punted 3 times, and all 3 were inside the 20 for him. Here's my takeaway from it: they were down 20-7 at halftime. Before the game, I think even before fans got into the seats, the game was over. That shows a lot of the coach not having the team ready, or the leaders not having the team ready. I don't know how they go about that, but I have a few questions for you guys. Do we start overreacting and calling for Matt Canada's head? I understand you come out and you go 3 and out 4 or 5 straight times. I think you made your bed with them and you got to lay with them. So I just want to ask you guys, what do you think?
It was Kenny Pickett's fault.
Okay.
The receivers were open. Yeah. He was just thrown behind.
He looked very off.
Yeah, he was horrid. Kenny Pickett looked horrible today. This isn't the Falcons B team. This isn't the 93-7 version of the Atlanta Falcons. There ain't no Dunlap. There ain't none of those jamokes out on the field where you can cook them in the streets or whatever the hell they want to talk about. This is one of the best, if not the best, defense in the league.
It's
You got to bring your A
best.
game. You got to hit your receivers when they're open.
I mean,
what I'm really hoping is just that this was a flop. We knew this was kind of a game that they could lose. I know we said, okay, they have a chance to win. Let's be honest, the Niners are a contender. Look at the weapons they have on offense. Their defense is insane. Linebackers are insane. And at the end of the day, you are going to have a team that's going to flop every once in a while. Look at the Bengals, Super Bowl contenders this year. Burrow throws for what, 70 yards maybe?
Hey, I wrote that down because I wanted to take a look around
T.
the
Higgins,
NFL.
8 targets, no catches.
I'll
T. Higgins dropped an egg today.
Joe Burrow.
You get beat by the Browns.
You ready? Joe Burrow, 14 for 31 for 82 yards, no tutties, no interceptions, because I wanted to take a look around the league to see other quarterbacks, how they fared today. So, yeah, they benched him in the fourth quarter. So, I understand it. I know we were high on Kenny because of preseason, but that gets me into another point, another question I wanted to ask you guys, because San Fran did this. Does sitting your starters during a preseason hurt your team? I understand.
Is Dallas dead, by the way? Like, he has no catches either. No.
I don't know.
Is he playing?
I'd assume so, yeah.
But
well, they're not throwing, aren't they? Up? Or are they?
No, this game I guess is getting crazy right now. Oh,
who knows? The Eagles they're loaded. They got a pretty loaded room. So,
but that's what I wanted to ask you. Does sitting your starters during the preseason hurt your team? Because San Fran did it. They sat all their starters. Bosa, we know he held out. They don't play a lot of their top guys. I understand this is Kenny's second year, but does it hurt to set those guys, your Cam Haywards, your TJ Watts, your Najees, George Pickens, Kenny Pickett, all those guys, and just let the second and third stringers out there, and maybe you don't show too much of your hand as well?
I think it depends with where you're at, obviously. I'd say in the Steelers' case, there are some guys you should be playing and getting those reps, like your Pickett's, like your Pickens, at least a couple drives, I'd say at least halftime. But I'd say you could ease off a little bit on guys like Hayward and Watt. I'm just thinking age level and experience. Personally, that's what I believe. But everybody should get at least, a couple touches, at least 2 series. Even a veteran, I'd say minimum 1 series. Or 1 series. Or 1 series, yeah. I don't know the plural. I don't know why it dropped my mind real quick. But we remember Big Ben and those kind of teams. They'd at least go 1, right?
Yes.
They never sat a whole game.
No.
Go at least 1. But Big Ben was also elite. I don't think we're ever going to see Kenny Pickett at that level. I still believe it's Joe Flacco ceiling for him. But, I'm not a head coach. I'm not going to be the guy to say who plays how much and where they play. It could be a case by case. We do know guys get dinged up every now and then. They can't play this. They can't play that. But I think it just boils down to experience level. They're a very young team, so I would have leaned more on having your offense play a little bit more than your defense. So I do think they kind of screwed up when they did have Kenny Pickett maybe go 1 series with like 3 bang plays. And, he is kind of just getting thrown into the fire now. These are good teams that they're playing. These are the 1A players on their team. So not the competition you saw for 3 minutes in a preseason game.
Yeah, this is the first time he's starting from the rip. And I mean, I understand last year the growing pains you're going to have with him because he had 0 reps with any of the ones through camp. Through the beginning of the season. He's had all the reps this year. It's his team. It's his reins.
And maybe that's the big trade-off. There was that competition last year. He had to be hungrier. He had to take Mitch's spot. He wanted it. And I don't think today that we saw that, the gamer mentality that he was going to come in. And, the Randy Marsh thing when he had the wheelbarrow. Big nuts. He just didn't have him today. There's a couple plays he did. The throws he did,
like
you got to have confidence to make some of those throws and have that tight window.
Yeah, especially that one, the Freiermuth there for the touchdown. That was a good ball. But
that was a good throw. It's just they made a better play though.
Right before that, to Anthony McFarland out in the flats, he almost threw it at his shoelaces. He threw it at his shoelaces. Like That's when you hit him in the chest, let him get to the sticks. He barely got the sticks.
Oh, were you talking about whenever like it was kind of a screen and he got killed in the backfield? That's what I was talking about.
No, it's right before halftime. They were driving down on that touchdown
Mhm.
drive. He throws it out to the flats, and it was at his shoelaces. It's almost like he was pressing. He was. I think he got caught up in the moment there and realized, like, oh shit, this is real time now.
Yeah.
I think that's across the board. So preparation wise, that falls on your head coach. It has to.
I think the biggest tell is what we're gonna see next week.
Yeah.
Like, how are they gonna respond to this?
So
they had the preseason where, let's say, Steelers fans, we do go over the edge, hype them up. Maybe it got to their head, like, and they thought, hey, you go out for 1 or 2 drives a game and you just march downfield in 3-4 plays, you're gonna come out feeling like gold. And when you get hit in the mouth like that, it is kind of, that's a jarring experience.
yeah.
And it's gonna be how they respond this next week. If they lay an egg again, that's real trouble. That's real trouble.
After what the Browns did today, they won 24-3 against the Cincinnati Bengals. And
holding the Bengals to 3 is, that's pretty crazy.
Deshaun went 16 for 29, 154 yards, 1 tutty, 1 interception. But I mean, they got Chubb, and look what Christian McCaffrey did to us.
Yeah,
and
he ain't no McCaffrey, but he's a pretty good running back.
Yeah, I think he's more of a bruiser. He's not the shifty kind. You don't. What's the status on Cam Hayward? Because he went out with a groin injury. Who was the other? There was another D tackle that went out. I'm pretty sure.
Leo
came back in. Yeah.
Oh, did he?
And then he was out.
Well,
but the thing with the groin injury, that could be, just a pull. That could be just a strain. You're talking at minimum a day, like at max, like 6-7 months.
Yes,
that's a wide range. That's a scary injury, especially for a defensive tackle when you're exploding up like that. That's a lot of stress there.
Yeah, that's one of them core muscle injuries you hear about in like hockey. 9 times out of 10, it's a groin. You hear goalies having it and forwards have it every once in a while. That's a core muscle injury. That takes time because it's nagging, and it takes just one wrong step and you tweak it again. And same with Deontay Johnson coming up hindered. Well, he laid there with his hammy. Is he going to be 100%? Are we going to have our weapons? I don't know. Look at Moss.
We have all these weapons, but we're not using them at the same time. The line looks abysmal.
Here's the other thing. We get blessed coming out of preseason with no major injuries, correct? We had that one cornerback, that young kid that got hurt.
Trice.
Yeah, Trice. Blows his knee out, but that was in camp, and I understand that. And that's your one major injury you have, and I understand Ogunjobi, was hurt, but he's a veteran. You let him have his time. Now you come out of this game, Deontay's dinged up. Who knows? Maybe he pulled his hammy. Cam Hayward's dinged up. Who was the other D tackle there? He hurt his elbow. Marvin Leal dings up his elbow. Now you start looking.
He was hurt coming in. He didn't see a snap all preseason.
No.
I mean,
so it's tough. You get blessed coming out of preseason, and that's what you don't want is a major injury. You try to get through every week without having a major injury, but you start dropping like flies like this. This deep team isn't looking so deep now.
No. Especially when your main guys aren't pulling their weight. Yeah. It's not like you can't go to these next guys. So when we're relying on our, your first stringers, your bang bang play guys, to carry the load, and then kind of having those change of pace guys that would come in and maybe make a play here and there, it's mixing up the tempo. Everything felt out of sync. They just couldn't ever get anything going. And when they did, that's when I have a gripe with the refs. The Steelers had something going. They had that Pickens little, what was it? They called it 14.5-yard line instead of 15.
Yes.
And then something else happened right after. There was like a dumb penalty. They were looking at something, and they screwed with the whole tempo. So I'm not saying it's their fault, but I just thought that little segment was a little whack right there. Like, why gripe so much on that first down call and then get real serious about? I think something stupid happened after that. I can't remember, but That was just a little note I should have taken.
Speaking of the refs, sorry, Motts, I'm going to keep jumping in here. I know you're not too invested. You're just sick of it. But speaking about the refs, and I understand they're human, but they missed a false start call on San Fran
That's what it was.
That
That's
resulted
what
in a
was.
touchdown.
That's what I was thinking of.
And then I don't know who got tangled up. I think we were on offense.
Connor Hayward.
Was it?
But he kind of flopped. Was that the end zone?
No, it was earlier in the game. And there was a little bit of pushing and shoving, and they threw the flag. Well, we were on defense, so it was somebody in the secondary. And we got the 15, but there wasn't anything egregious there, and it wasn't like a retaliation thing. They both had each other locked up. How can you throw a flag on one guy and not the other? That should have been offsetting as well.
I know what you're talking about. I forget, what's the cornerback's name?
It wasn't.
There's like a 4-letter one, a short name. Right?
I don't know.
The penalty?
Motts is our.
They're both locked up, and then only one guy got it. Because
we got flags.
They're both holding each other here. Because it was on the top left of the screen, like they're going up diagonally that way.
Yeah, they weren't even in the play, really. They were off the play. And they called an unsportsmanlike there. You got to either eat that flag or you throw it on both guys. Or
just do what you did 7 other times that game and say there's no flag on there. There's no penalty on the field.
Yeah. And for Pittsburgh, we ended up having 6 penalties for 60 yards, and they had 8 for 85, I'm pretty sure. So you got to cut that down too, especially pre-snap penalties as well. You got a couple false starts, a couple holdings. You need to clean that up for sure, and that falls on your head coach for sure. And I'm not calling for anybody's job. I know it's the first game, but the leash is short because I'm tired of this mediocrity shit. I'm tired of no losing seasons. And I've said it before. I said it last year until I was blue in the face. I said it probably 4 weeks in a row. I'm not here for mediocrity. I'm here to win. I want to see them win Super Bowls. That's what I want to see. We haven't seen one in so long. It's ridiculous. 09?
That's what I'm thinking. We need to start holding ourselves accountable, not just the team, but like us as fans.
Yeah.
You got to flip the script. We say losing season. We need to get that out of our heads.
Yeah.
We need playoffs. We need division titles. We need conference championships, and we need Super Bowls.
Yeah. I can agree with
that. That would be the mentality that we need to switch to. We can't have this loser mentality where lukewarm is okay and you're going 8-8 or just a tad over 500. I don't know the exact numbers, but 500 or just winning season. You can't hang banners for that.
No.
You can't hold a trophy for that. You're going to get clowned eventually.
You hear it nationally all the time too, because that's what everybody's like. Oh well, Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season. Jay Glazer at the pregame was talking to Coach T, and he gave him a Tomlinism, and then right before he cut back all the other guys, he goes, "Guys never had a losing season." Great. What does that matter? And it's tough to sit here and just be rah-rah-ree because of mediocrity. That's not what the Pittsburgh Steelers have ever been about, but I guess that was just back in the day. I don't know if Art's done something different now. It's a new regime. I get that, but once enough is enough. You used to be, like Thomas says, the standard is a standard. The Pittsburgh Steelers used to be the standard of the NFL. Everybody wanted to be the Steelers. Everybody wanted to be where we were, and now we're just middle of the pack, and I'm not okay with middle of the pack. I'm just not.
Starts with us. We start holding them accountable. The fans are the ones that rule.
Yeah.
We start making a stink. We lead the next generation. We say, hey, we don't care about winning seasons. We care about winning titles.
Yeah. When's the last time
we need to spread the word?
When was the last time we were in an AFC championship game?
What?
When's the last time we were in an AFC championship game? 16? 15?
I don't even think 16. I don't even think 17. I'd say like maybe 13, 14, maybe.
No, I have to look that up. I'm sorry.
I'd say even 2010, honestly. Or no. 12. I'd guess 12 or 13. There's no way there's one after 2015. I'd be surprised.
2017.
Really?
Yeah. We lost 17-36 to who? I'm not sure. It doesn't show me.
Was it the
would it been
Patriots?
it might have been the Pats the last
Was
year.
it that game?
Probably. Is that the one where Lev Bell hurt his groin, but he was playing basketball at the YMCA like the day before?
The LA Fitness.
Yeah.
Was it that one?
I think so. Let me see.
You may be right.
Is that the one where he tore his shit and he was out playing at the
It was
lot?
it was the Pats, yeah. So that would have been that game. So that's the last time we were in an AFC championship game. It's 2023. And you still want to hang your hat on saying that Mike Tomlin is a great coach because he doesn't have a losing season. I can't get behind that. And I said it last year and I'll say it again. How can you get behind mediocrity? You just can't. Then if you call for his job, that you get called names and stuff. Why can't I just disagree or criticize somebody and want better for my team? I'm the consumer here. I want better. It's a damn shame when I'm sitting there on the couch watching the game and my wife looks at me and goes, "If I bought tickets for this, I'd want a refund." I said, "Yeah, it's false advertisement, ain't it? It's ridiculous." Because I saw the cheapest tickets, if I wanted to buy them,
Probably $500.
$800 a piece
For nosebleeds.
from people that are season ticket holders and wanted to get rid of them because, like you said, they'd rather flip them. Yeah,
that's all it is a money grab. You know, it's a real shame, and that's why professional sports are going to start suffering, especially in cities like Pittsburgh. We're seeing it with the Penguins. We've seen it with the Penguins. We're starting to see it with the Steelers and the Pirates. If they're ever good, sure, we'll see it with them.
You won't see it with the Pirates.
You already no.
Shitter franchise.
Excuse me. In my eyes, you already see it with the Pirates because if you look at a Pirates game, let's say you go on a weekend series and St. Louis is in town, that crowd's 65 to 35 St. Louis fans. You see it all the time.
Yeah. When I went against the Blue Jays, it was Blue Jays fans probably were the majority.
So when you're
but still, that's a bad look. Anytime you're at a home game, the other teams.
You know what's a really
that
bad
should never happen.
Is when your PR is saying, "Oh, well, the Yankees are in town. Come see Judge and Stanton and ex-Pirate Garrett Cole."
That.
How can you sit
every time I see the Pirates, advertise that they did that with the Reds. They're like, "Come see De La Cruz."
Yeah,
they're doing it with the Yankees, like you said. Now they said, "Come see the Yankees." That's coming up in a couple days.
Yes,
it's annoying, and I could understand it happening with the Pirates, but a franchise like the Pittsburgh Steelers, that should never, ever, ever happen. With the notoriety of our fan base and how Steelers Nation holds themselves to a certain standard, that is very embarrassing. That should never happen, and I'm quite disgusted.
Let me ask you guys this. You guys are both Penn State Nittany Lions fans. What if one day you went up there and they were playing Illinois or Rutgers, and you went into Beaver Stadium? I know it'll never happen, but you walk in there and it's supposed to be a whiteout. Next thing you know, you see nothing but red, a sea of red. You'd be disgusted.
If I even saw a little section of red, I'd be insulted. Honestly, even a little. Section of maybe 1,000 people.
They still have to sell X amount of tickets to the away team, but
the Pitt Panthers, they didn't even do that yesterday. We went to the game. The Cincinnati fans didn't even take over.
But
you kind of expected they would, would have made the trip. You would have seen like a little more than we saw. Yeah. But for the Steelers, that you can tell it's just a money grab.
That's what we're seeing there, though. And it should disgust you. It should piss you off. That's your house. Yeah. They have the 12th man up there in Seattle, right? Because they're loud and they get into it and they're behind their team. That crowd sucked.
Yeah, they were.
They're patching in. I didn't even know what they were chanting. I thought it was like some kind of weird Steelers chant. It was "Let's go Niners."
It's the same with the Penguin games, though. It's all the people, rich people can afford the tickets, and they sit there eating their overpriced sushi and whatever the hell else in the lower bowl, not paying attention, don't have any idea what's going on in the game. And you got the hardworking blue-collar fans that know the game, they love the game, then at home because they can't afford it. It's more like a night, it's more like a social gathering for these jamokes than You're going to a hockey game. It's supposed to be a rowdy crowd,
Right.
regardless.
I mean, they still let you fight in that damn sport, and you want all these white collar people that are elitist in this world just grabbing up all the expensive tickets and the good seats. That just, and especially the way the world is now and the economy and this and that. A lot of hardworking guys don't have the disposable income to go to sporting events, and that's what's going to be hindered for them. They can still watch it on TV, but then the experience at the stadium is, you get your stadium overran by opposing fans, and there's not the atmosphere there, and opposing offenses can just come in here and it's already quiet, so we don't have to use silent counts and stuff like that. We could just
I'll
use
tell
our
you where it went
cadence.
wrong. When I was younger and was at the old Igloo, I was down there. I think it was with I don't know if Ryan was there, but my dad and my grandfather, and we're watching the Rangers play the Penguins. And I witnessed a man in a Mark Messier jersey getting his ass beat in the bathroom. That's the kind of stuff you go to a hockey game for. Some dude just absolutely getting mollywopped by two guys who look like they were at the bar before the game, pounding Iron Cities and eating pierogies, and then they showed up for a rumble, and the Mark Messier impersonator is just getting mollywopped. That's why you go there, not to see guys with chopsticks eating sushi down in the lower bowl, and leave the mixed drinks at home. There's no place for that at hockey games. The overpriced, it's all wine, all that fancy stuff. I'll even say get rid of the IPAs. Give me some Iron City Light, and then you have your choice of a cheesesteak or something else, and you just go to town there. That's
the
all I'm
days of
saying.
old are so gone.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like opposing fans aren't even afraid to be in other stadiums anymore. Like, I remember when the Tigers came to Pittsburgh. I don't know if Andrew's there or not. We're up pretty high. The PNC, those seats up high are like, those are almost vertical. Guy comes up, he's dressed to the nines. It was the same weekend as I remember the NHL draft was in Pittsburgh. So this guy, he was like saying, "Oh, I'm doubling this as a weekend, seeing the Red Wings draft and Tigers game." So he's dressed to the nines. He has a full Tony the Tiger outfit on with a Detroit Tigers jersey over top, and he's walking up the steps like he's above us somewhere up high, and he's like up the whole way saying whatever, like "Go Tigers." Like a minute later, you just see his whole body just fly down the steps. Someone had to have just thrown him down the steps.
Well, you know what happened? He was drunk and he spilled his beer on this guy's wife, and the guy got up, and it looked like probably a 5'9" version of Bill Goldberg, and he literally grabbed Tony the Tiger by the scruff of the neck and just chucked him down the stairs. That was back in the days where men were able to be men. If Tony the Tiger spills something on your wife, you're able to chuck him down a flight of concrete steps without repercussions. Society's soft nowadays.
It is, and that's what I was going to get to. It's a different world we live in, and I'm not saying anybody should just go looking to throw dukes in the bathroom just for no reason because the guy's wearing a Mark Messier jersey. But if he says something, say something, you spit on me, you spill a drink on my wife. Here's the thing: this society is so soft.
You're polite about it, sure, if you apologize, but if you're being like a little snickety, like
this society is so soft because they're so encapsulated and sitting behind a computer screen and thinking nobody will touch them, and if you do, I'm going to sue you. Well, listen here. Back then, you couldn't hide. If you're going to talk shit, you were going to get hit. Now, everybody gets away with it constantly, and you touch me, I'm going to sue you, or I'm not getting political, so I'm not going to go any further. I'm just going to leave it at that. That's just it's a damn shame that everything's just so soft anymore. And that's what it boils down to. And it makes the experience at a football game, any sporting event, soft. I've never been to Acrisure Stadium, previously Heinz Field, for a Steeler football game. I don't think I ever want to now because it just doesn't look fun. Back in the day,
here's the thing. I never went growing up. I'd like to go to a Steeler game. I've never been, but now I can't justify paying, like you said, $500 to $800 to go to one game.
Yeah.
No, I don't care if you can afford to do that. That experience is not worth $800.
Yeah.
The most a person should spend for a ticket is like $100. You know, I feel like if you're like front row, I feel like you don't even need that. Like if you're sitting up, even a little mid range, like 50-yard line, like $50 a ticket. Like Heinz Field seats how many do you think?
60,000.
60,000.
Yeah.
They're making bank off tickets just there, like
Yep.
$800 a ticket. Come
Yeah.
on now.
Well,
That's
that's
crazy.
what people are flipping them for. So face value is probably 500, but
Yeah,
the games that are so in demand, and the San Fran Pittsburgh game was the 5th most in demand ticket for this year. The number 1 is actually Vegas versus Pittsburgh, coming up later
there's be
this
more
year.
Steelers fans
yeah.
there than probably at
Yeah.
the game today.
Yeah, I think
which
the
is
ghost of Al Davis is doing the coin flip.
oh yeah,
But you know, that's the last of my thoughts on the matter. They just drained my energy for today. Bad vibes. You guys have any more thoughts on it?
No, we went to the Pitt game yesterday and watched the Steeler game today. I've never seen back-to-back days of just absolutely dog crap quarterbacking. Phil, this is the last thing I'm saying before I'm done with the pod today. I had to, Brian and I went and Nicole went. We took, our nephew, Nicole's nephew Tristan to the game, first Pitt game, and I'm embarrassed that he had to watch Phil Jurkovec, go 10 for 32. His pocket awareness, I think Stevie Wonder could have navigated the pocket better and had a better pocket presence than him yesterday. It was awful. You can ask Ryan. There was a guy in a Phil Jurkovec jersey 3 rows behind us. He was just dropping F-bombs. He was like yelling, "Hey, Phil, you're not playing Chartiers Valley. Figure it out." Classic Yinzer. But the thing that, and I'm a borderline Pitt fan. Like I said, I'm a Penn State fan. I go
Yeah.
down there. I enjoy the team. Or, like Braylon, it's a good atmosphere down there, whatever. Phil Jurkovec is bitching about the fans booing him, saying, "Oh, if you're doing that, Phil, you spurned Pitt once to go to Notre Dame. You spurned them twice to go to Boston College. And now you show up here, you stink, and you're blaming the fans. You're 23 years old.
yeah.
You want to talk about soft? That is a guy right there that they go down to West Virginia next week for the backyard brawl. I'm sure they're going to be really polite to you down there,
Oh
Phil.
yeah.
Ooh,
And that's the thing.
Jag of the week. Jag.
That's fine. I could get behind that, because when you're a athlete, not like I said, I'm the consumer, right? I can do anything I want, just as long as I don't cross the line. If you're not getting vulgar and throwing out slurs and stuff like that, that's fine. You want to boo? Boo. You know, show your frustration. You as an athlete should want to be better and put a better product out there. Take that and run with it. They're booing you. Oh, well, but you want to say that people need to grow up. You're a grown man and you're booing. Like, you shouldn't do that. Like, no, I like I said, I paid for my ticket. I'm not going to cross that line, because I know where the line is. There are some ignorant people out there. I get that.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I was
read the
going to
room,
say.
Phil.
There are levels to it. Like, as an athlete, you do have to have like a head on your shoulders, thicker skin.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't expect to get yelled at, you shouldn't be playing sports, I don't think, in the first place. But along the same lines, if you're like a 50, 60-year-old man heckling like a college student playing football like over and over a whole game, like, you're beating a dead horse. You could say the same thing the whole game, but you just look like a jag eventually. Like 1 or 2 times, like, okay, like the Chartiers Valley comment was like funny, but like, you're beating a dead horse the entire game. Like, we get it, man.
How
But you
close
just
are
annoy
you?
everyone around you at a certain point.
Do you even think he heard him? Do you honestly think he heard him?
No, that too. Like, you're up like what? We're in section like in the 200s.
Yeah.
So not down middle. We're like the middle.
Yeah.
So no one's hearing you.
That's the
You're
thing.
not important.
You know what the funniest part is? He's heckling him. Meanwhile, he's wearing his jersey.
Yeah.
You spent money to buy that jersey.
Yeah.
Maybe, hopefully, you kept the receipt. Get a refund. You're that. And Ryan was out there during halftime, and I came back to the seats, and Ryan said, "Yeah, this guy, he was just pacing back and forth. He was just pissed off at halftime."
I get
And
it.
here's the thing.
I get
Like,
it.
I know we all enjoy like our teams. We enjoy Pittsburgh sports, and when they do lose, it is upsetting.
Yes.
But if your whole day hinges on your
Build your
team
title.
winning or losing, you kind of need to reconsider watching. But at the same time, like unless it's a big game, like if you lose the Super Bowl, okay. You lose the Stanley Cup, sure.
Okay.
Like I remember when the Steelers lost the Super Bowl or Stanley Cup, but I was also a kid then. But if you're basing your whole day and like pacing back and forth in a stadium, like with people around you seeing that, like you need to reconsider like what you're doing. Look at yourself in the mirror.
Here's something I've realized doing this with you guys. I get invested in the games. I always was. I wasn't passionate, I wouldn't say, but I would watch. I'm passionate, but I know when to turn it off and turn it on. And it doesn't ruin my day. Just like looking at my fantasy team, right? I'm winning both of my leagues that I'm in right now, but I have some
Congratulations.
pretty big injuries happening, okay? J.K. Dobbins, torn Achilles. Aaron Jones, they think he might have torn his hamstring. So, like I said, I know people that live and die for that stuff, and it doesn't affect me like that. I could still get on here and have a good time. I can go throughout my day. At 1 o'clock, they kicked off. Game was over at what, 4:15? I was fine.
Yep.
But I have the crock pots going. I got food. We're eating food. Sundays in the fall time are big in this house, and we have a good time. I watch football all day. All day Saturday, I try to watch football because I like just consuming it. It doesn't bother me, and I understand some people get so butthurt about it, but you got to understand at the end of the day, you have no bearing on that game. Why are you getting pissed off? If you were the coach or you were Kenny Pickett or George Pickens and you dropped a pass or you got sacked or you let up a sack, like you're a member on the team, fine. I can understand you're upset. Or like Ryan said, it's a big game. It's a Super Bowl. It's a Stanley Cup. It's a World Series. It's whatever. And you lose. Yeah, I wasn't happy when the Pens lost that cup. I wasn't happy when the Steelers lost their Green Bay. But there's always next year. And look what the Pens did.
That's the beauty of sports.
Yeah.
You're always looking forward to the next time.
Right.
And at the end of the day, even with a day where the Steelers lose 30-7 against the 49ers, it's better than last week when we didn't have the Steelers at all.
Right.
We get to watch football. We get to see a team that we like. We have that, the escapism from everyday life. The world's jacked up, but we get a chance to, turn our minds off for a little bit. Watch a pigskin get tossed around. Watch guys get their brains scrambled, It's a fun time. It's escapism. And I think personally I value more the connection with other people at games. Like like a lot of my memories are going to games with other people.
Yeah.
Like I never enjoyed Pitt. I didn't know the world of Pitt football, but I'm not saying they're my favorite team. I'm a Penn State guy first and foremost. But going to that Pitt UNC game with Roberts and you guys like 2 years ago, that was fun. Like we took a ticket down at the casino. We had our little tickets of like Pitt spread and just like the whole scenario of hitting it in overtime and the rain coming down, like, just making memories with your buddies at games. And like, that's what it's really all about, at the end of the day, feeling like you're part of something. Kind of.
You're not wrong.
But,
yeah.
Fun times, good vibes, and, can't win them all.
And here's the other thing. I'm just going to say this real quick because I know Andrew is checked out. He's been checked out. He's been checked out since I pressed record.
I just had to listen to Chicken Noodle Soup for the Football Soul for the past 5 minutes.
Giving good vibes out. I'm trying to turn things around.
That's the
Steelers
thing.
stung. I'm trying to end on a positive note.
Because, like you said,
I'm going into an Aaron Rodgers darkness retreat this week until we play.
See, this is where you need to listen. Because here's the thing. At the end of the day, like Ryan said, there's going to be game next week, too. We got the Browns next Monday Night Football. But here's the thing. We get to wake up every week, watch some ball, and get to shoot the shit about it. Have fun about it. Bounce ideas and arguments and discussions off each other every week. Oh, yeah. I enjoy this.
Saying, I hate Cleveland. I wouldn't be going into a darkness retreat if it was like the Colts because they're the Colts, whatever. It's a neutral team. Cleveland's a shithole. I've said it once. I'll say it again.
You're not
It's
wrong.
A little different. It's a little different next week. It's a diffy game.
It's still NFL Steeler football. Be glad we have it because remember when they took it away from us. Remember how you felt then. I was lost. I'm not saying.
Remember when we didn't have sports at all?
Right.
That was the worst.
I was.
People were crocheting.
I was betting on Russian table tennis, for
Table
God's
tennis,
sakes.
yeah. That's a good time.
It was better than not betting on anything.
Yeah. At
Mm.
least we have to sit through a full bucket of season.
Yeah.
Good week for the Pirates, by the way. Let's get into the Pirates here.
All right, see you, Andrew.
All right,
See you,
so
bud.
that was episode 7, season 2. Thanks for watching. Andrew, you better share us on Facebook because people are wondering why I don't see it on Facebook anymore. Subscribe to our YouTube. We're almost at 400, and thank you.